Hi, Joslyn's LAP Project, Standard SC4L.17.3, SC5, LS2A, and SC5L17.1. Question: how interaction in the system of plants, animals, humans, decomposers, and the environment allow multiple species to meet their needs. The road to interdependence. The road to interdependence has 5 stops along the way. The 5 stops on the road to interdependence are learning goals, classroom activity, assessment tools, data collection, and inferences. Learning goals. A roadmap of what I want my students to know and be able to do at the end of the lesson. Classroom activities. Activities will incorporate the 5E model and also be culturally responsive activity. Assessment tools. I chose that align with my goals are concept maps, exit slips, discourse, presentations, observations. Data collection. I plan to collect data that inform me about my students' cognitive reasoning and my level of pedagogy. The last, inferences. Based on the data, I will be able to infer if the learning goals were achieved and what will be my next step / goals in my learning journey. Before I could even started creating my learning goals, I had to consider 3 components for creating effective learning goals. Goals that will help sequentially build my students' understanding. The first component I had to consider when creating my goals was performance component, which specifies an observable behavior that the learner is to exhibit. Condition component specifies the condition under which the learner will be assessed and what the learner will be given or denied. Third, criterion component specify the minimal level of acceptable performance that the learner will be expected to exhibit. Step 1. Creating learning goals using those 3 components. My first learning goal is trace the dependent relationship using a concept map to sequence transfer along the food chain through the producers to the decomposers. Before I move on, I will explain. The word trace was written in red to distinguish that is the performance component. That is what the student is going to do. The second part, that's in italicized, that's the condition components. That's what the students is expected under what they're going to be given to do. And the last is the criterion performance components. My second learning goal, again, this follows the same 3 component pattern. Italicize, which be the condition. The red would be the performance, and the underlined portion is what's going to be the criterion for doing it. The third learning goal, again, follow the same components for all three of my learning goals. All my planning and preparation for teaching this lesson was done prior to spring break. But due to outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, I was unable to teach it because no one was able to return to schools. Reflecting on previous science lessons, I have taught the next 5 slides exhibits expectations of my students and myself. Now let's continue on the road to interdependence. Stop 2. My classroom activities. My classroom activities will involve the 5 E's. E1. Provide discussion questions for students to brainstorm in small group. Explore. Students will view a video and then use a concept map to show interdependence. Third E, explain. Groups will present, listen, define, discuss, and answer questions about their concept map. Next E, extend. I will use a scenario web. This web would be involved in prior discussions we had previously when I wanted to introduce what was coming next. Evaluate. I will evaluate them through exit slips. Each student will share what interdependence means to them and how it makes them think about their connection to other organisms and the world. Culturally responsive classroom activities is as follows. E. Engage. The question listed below will be discussed and shared out. Explore. Student would watch a video of different trophic levels of interdependence, then create a concept map. Next stop. 3. Assessment tools. Observation, video and discourse, presentation and concept map, written response, exit slips, and rubrics. Step 4. Data collection. In my data collection, I will observe students using the correct terminologies to describe interdependent relationship. Listen for relevant questions and responses made by group members. Determine if students can transfer their cognitive thinking to a concept map, and whether students can use this new knowledge to make personal connections to other organisms and the world. Final stop, making inferences. There will be 3 types of inferences I would make based on the lesson. The first will be on-the-fly inferences. These will be everyday observational inferences, will guide my future instruction and provide opportunities to the students to build knowledge. The next, analysis inference. Based on group discourse and explanation, I will look for any emerging pattern in students' cognitive thinking or misconceptions. The next, pedagogy and next steps assessment. I evaluate if the rubric help guide peer or self-assessment of the contents. Likewise, to help me determine if the goals was achieved and my next steps learning goals. Thank you. My prayer goes out to Dr. Gao, my classmate, and your families in this unprecedented time. Please keep yourself safe. Why is this happening?